Hello everyone and welcome to this video channel Science Class I. Today we will study chapter number 7, Conservation of Plants and Animals. So from this chapter we will learn why do we need to conserve plants and animals. We need to conserve plants and animals because humans cannot survive without plants and animals. On the other hand, plants and animals can survive without humans. So, from this chapter, we will learn so many things. First, let's read out. We saw in class 7 that Pahle and Buzo had visited the forest along with Professor Ahmad and Tibu. So, in class 7, Pahle and Buzo had visited forest along with Professor Ahmad and Tibu. They were eager to share their experiences with their classmates. So they were so eager to share their experiences with their classmates. All other children in the class were also eager to share their experiences as some of them had visited Bharatpur Sanctuary. And on the other hand, some other children in the class also they have to share their experience as they have visited Bharatpur Sanctuary. You know, Bharatpur Sanctuary is located in Rajasthan. So some of the students they have already visited this Bharatpur Sanctuary. They want to share about their experience, and some of the students they have visited forest along with Professor Ahmad and Tipu. So they want to share about their experience. So some others had heard about Kaziranga National Park, and some of the students, some of the children, they heard about Kaziranga National Park. Kaziranga National Park is located in Assam. Lokchau Wildlife Sanctuary. Actually, Lokchau Wildlife Sanctuary, it means Yangpokpi Lokchau Wildlife Sanctuary is located in Imphal, Manipur, around 87 kilometers away from the heart of the city, and it is located in Manipur and Myanmar border. That is called Yangpokpi Lokchau Wildlife Sanctuary. Great Nicobar Biosphere Reserve. It is in Andaman and Nicobar, and Tiger Reserve, etc. You know, Tiger Reserve. So many tiger reserves are there in our country, India. I will mention some of them. They are, say, tiger reserves in India are Bandipur National Park. It is located in Karnataka. Corbett National Park. It is located in Uttarakhand. It is park reserved for the conservation of tiger. That is leopard. And Kanhan National Park. That is located in Madhya Pradesh, and Manas National Park also located in Assam. So they can be mentioned for conservation of tiger. Here, deforestation and its causes. Let's see. Here, before we study this girl said, "What is the purpose of making national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves?" Oh. This is the purpose of making national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves. You know, wildlife sanctuary. Then what is wildlife sanctuary? Let's see. Wildlife sanctuary is an area where animals and birds can live protected and safe in their natural habitat. That is called wildlife sanctuary. And what is biosphere reserve? Biosphere reserve means biosphere reserves are the protected area also, and meant for the conservation of plants and animals, and they conserve the biodiversity of that area. And so far in our country, India, there are 18 biosphere reserves in India. Okay, now let's see. Deforestation and its causes. Deforestation and its causes. A great variety of plants and animals exist on Earth. they are essential for the well-being and survival of mankind. Today, a major threat to survival of these organisms is deforestation. We frequently heard about the term deforestation. Deforestation is nothing. In the previous classes, you know deforestation, cutting down of the trees in large numbers, in terms of thousands, or in terms of more than thousands. That is called deforestation. So, a great variety of plants and animals exist on Earth. They are essential for the well-being and survival of mankind. Today, a major threat to survival of these organisms is deforestation. If deforestation is there, some of the organisms like plants and animals, their habitat is destroyed. So let's continue. We know that deforestation means clearing of forests and using that land for other purposes. It is also mentioned here. After deforestation, that place is used for some other purposes. So trees in the forest are cut for some of the purposes mentioned below. What are the purposes? Let's see. Point number 1, procuring land for cultivation. Say deforestation, then after cutting down of the trees, the area is used for procuring land for cultivation. And point number 2, building houses and factories. And point number 3, making furniture or using wood as fuel. So these are the main objectives of deforestation. Let's continue. Some natural causes of deforestation are forest fires and severe droughts. Some of the natural causes of deforestation are forest fire. So forest fire is also one major factor for deforestation, and severe drought. Drought. Severe drought is also one major factor. Activity 7.1, let's see what it says. Add more causes of deforestation to your list and classify them into natural and man-made. More causes of deforestation. We can make list of causes of deforestation. So the main point for the deforestation is particularly human. Human is one major factor for deforestation. Okay. Consequences of deforestation. Let's see what are the consequences of deforestation. Pahle and Buzo recall the consequences of deforestation. They remember that deforestation increases the temperature and pollution level on the earth. It increases the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Pahle and Buzo recall the consequences of deforestation. What are the consequences? And they remember that deforestation increases the temperature and pollution level on the earth. It is true. And it increases the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So, because of the increased level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, then it becomes, say, greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. The major gas taking part in the greenhouse effect is carbon dioxide. Groundwater level also gets lower. They know that deforestation disturbs the balance in nature. So deforestation disturbs the balance in nature. They were told by Professor Ahmed that if cutting of trees continues, rainfall and the fertility of the soil will decrease. So if cutting of the trees still continues, then rainfall and the fertility of the soil will decrease. Moreover, there will be increased chances of natural calamities, such as floods and droughts. If we do not stop cutting forests, say we do not stop cutting trees, then there will be high chance of natural calamities such as floods and droughts. Recall that plants need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Fewer trees would mean that less carbon dioxide will be used up, resulting in its increase. Next page. Amount in the atmosphere. This will lead to global warming as carbon dioxide traps the heat rays reflected by the Earth. You know, from the previous page, fewer trees would mean that less carbon dioxide will be used, resulting in its increase amount in the atmosphere. So this will lead to global warming as carbon dioxide traps the heat rays reflected by the Earth. So carbon dioxide traps the heat rays reflected by the Earth. So global warming will occur. The increase in temperature on the Earth disturbs the water cycle and may reduce rainfall. This could cause droughts. Droughts. Deforestation is a major cause and which leads to the change in soil properties. Physical properties of the soil gets affected by plantation and vegetation. So physical properties of the soil, they get affected by plantation and vegetation. And recall from class 7 how trees prevent soil erosion. So trees prevent soil erosion mostly when so many trees are growing on the hill slope or in the mountain region. Then they can trap the soil by their roots. Fewer trees result in more soil erosion. So fewer trees, if the number of trees is very less, then it may be high chance of causing soil erosion. Removal of the top layer of the soil exposes the lower, hard and rocky layers. This soil has less humus and is less fertile. Removal of the top layer of the soil exposes the lower, hard and rocky layers. So this soil has less humus and is less fertile. So if soil erosion, the removal of the top soil, that is called soil erosion. So if the topsoil is removed, then the hard rocky layers beneath the topsoil, it is less humus and less fertile. So that is not suitable for crop plantation. So gradually the fertile land gets converted into deserts. It is called desertification. So what is desertification? Gradually the fertile land gets converted into desert. So the fertile land gets converted into desert. That process is called desertification. Deforestation also leads to a decrease in the deforestation also leads to a decrease in the water holding capacity of the soil. Water holding capacity of the soil. The movement of water from the soil surface into the ground, that is called infiltration rate, is reduced. So because of the deforestation, it leads to decrease in the water holding capacity of the soil. So there are floods. The other properties of the soil like nutrient content, texture, etc. also change because of deforestation. So because of the deforestation, other properties of the soil, say like nutrient content, texture, etc. also change because of deforestation. So we have studied in class 7 that we have studied that we get many products from forests. from forest we get many products. List these products. List these products. Will we face shortage of these products? If we continue cutting trees, then we do not get products from the forest. Let's see activity 7.2. Activity 7.2. Animal life is also affected by deforestation. How? List the points and discuss them in your class. So animal life is also affected by deforestation. If deforestation is there, then most of the plants, most of the bigger animals, their habitat is lost. So their habitat is quite affected. List the points and discuss them in your class. So this is the point. Next point, let's see conservation of forests and wildlife. Why do we need to conserve forests and wildlife? Let's see. Having become aware of the effects of deforestation, Pahle and Buzo were worried. They go to Professor Ahmed and ask him how forests and wildlife can be saved. Pahle and Buzo were so worried and they go to Professor Ahmed and ask him how forests and wildlife can be saved. Let's see. Here is biosphere. Biosphere is that part of the earth in which living organisms exist or which supports life. So biosphere is nothing. Living organisms exist and support life. So biological diversity or biodiversity. Biological diversity is to what? It is also used to say biodiversity in short. So biological diversity or biodiversity are the same in word, in meaning. Biological diversity or biodiversity refers to the variety of organisms existing on the earth, their interrelationships and their relationship with the environment. So biodiversity or biological diversity refers to the organisms and their relationships with the environment. So here we know biosphere and biodiversity. Professor Ahmed organized a visit to a biosphere reserve for Pahle, Buzo and their classmates. He selects a place named Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve. He knows that the plants and animals found here are similar to those of the upper Himalayan peaks and those belonging to the lower Western Ghats. Here, Professor Ahmed organized a visit to a biosphere reserve for Pahle and Buzo and their classmates. He selects a place that is called Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve, and he knows that the plants and animals found here are similar to those of the upper Himalayan peak. So, Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve, the plants and animals found in the Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve is same with the upper Himalayan peaks and those belonging to the lower Western Ghats. So Professor Ahmed believes that the biodiversity found here is unique. He requests Madhabji, a forest employee, to guide the children inside the Biosphere Reserve. So inside the Biosphere Reserve, Professor Ahmed requests Madhabji for the children to guide in the forest. He explains that preserving areas of such biological importance make them a part of our national heritage. What does it mean? So he explained that preserving areas of such biological importance plus preserve makes a part of our national heritage. So Madhavji explains to the children that apart from our personal efforts and efforts of the society. Government agencies also take care for this. So government agencies also take care of the forest and animals. The government lays down rules, methods, and policies to protect and conserve them. Wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, biosphere reserves, etc. are protected areas for conservation of plants and animals present in that area. So what does it mean? Not only for the efforts of the society, not only for the personal efforts of the society, government agencies also take care of the forest and animal. So here some points are also here. Let's see. To protect our flora and fauna, our plants and animals. To protect our plants and animals, that means flora and fauna and their habitats. Protected areas called wildlife sanctuaries. Wildlife sanctuaries are the protected areas, and national parks and biosphere reserves have been earmarked. Plantation, cultivation, grazing, felling trees, hunting and poaching are prohibited there. So in the protected areas like wildlife sanctuaries, national parks and biosphere reserves, etc., plantation, cultivation, grazing, felling trees, hunting animals and poaching, these activities are prohibited. Wildlife sanctuary, areas where animals are protected from any disturbance to them and their habitat. This is what about the wildlife sanctuary. And national park, let's see, areas reserved for wildlife where they can freely use the habitats and the natural resources. Biosphere reserve. Biosphere reserve means what? Large areas of the protected land for conservation of wildlife, plant and animal resources, and traditional life of the tribals living in the area. So that is called biosphere reserve. Now let's continue. Activity 7.3. Activity 7.3. Find out the number of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, and biosphere reserves in your district, state, and country. Record in table 7.1. Show these areas in an outline map of your state and India. Here, table 7.1, protected areas for conservation. Protected area, national park, wildlife sanctuary, biosphere reserve. So here in my district, then if you have, then you can write this. In my state, say for our state Manipur, national park, we can mention Kaibul Lamjau National Park. Wildlife sanctuary, for our state Manipur, we can mention Yangpupi Loksa Wildlife Sanctuary. Yangpupi Loksa Wildlife Sanctuary. And for the biosphere reserve, we can mention here biosphere reserve. Here is Pasmari Biosphere Reserve. A map is shown here, and Pasmari Sanctuary, Top, Pipa, Ria, Panarpani Gate, and this side is the northern side. It is shown in this map, Pasmari Biosphere Reserve. Okay, next page, let's see. Activity 7.4, list the factors disturbing the biodiversity of your area. Some of these factors and human activities may disturb the biodiversity unknowingly. List these human activities. How can this be checked? Here, activity 7.4, let's see. List the factors disturbing the biodiversity of your area. Biodiversity of your area. So some of the factors may be there which disturb the biodiversity of your area. Some of these factors and human activities may disturb the biodiversity unknowingly. So list these human activities. How can these be checked? And discuss in your class and write a brief report in your notebook. So some of the human activities are there. People living in the biodiversity area, they try to encroach the biodiversity area, and they try to construct their house. That is also one human activity. And that is also, yes, one activity. Such type of human activities, they try to disturb biodiversity area. So many other factors may be there. You try to find out. Flora and fauna. Let's see flora and fauna. As the children walk around the biosphere reserve, they appreciate the green wall of the forest. They are very happy to see tall, thick trees and animals inside the forest. Suddenly, Pehle finds a rabbit and wants to catch it. She starts running after it. Professor Ahmed stops her. He explains that animals are comfortable and happy in their own habitat. We should not disturb them. Madhavji explains that some animals and plants typically belong to a particular area. The plants and animals found in a particular area are termed flora. So flora and fauna respectively of that area. Here, what are flora and fauna? It is mentioned here. So children walk around the biosphere reserve and they appreciate green wall of the forest, and they are very happy to see tall, thick trees and animals inside the forest. And suddenly Pehle finds a rabbit and wants to catch it, and she starts running after it. Professor Ahmed stopped her, and he explains that animals are comfortable and happy in their own habitat. So we should not disturb them. They can play well of their own. So we should not try to catch them like it. So Madhavji explained that some animals and plants typically belong to a particular area. The plants and animals found in a particular area are termed flora and fauna. You know, flora, plants, and fauna, animals. So plants and animals found in a particular area, it is called flora and fauna respectively of that area. Here is one picture. Sal, teak, mango, jamun, silver ferns, arjun, etc. are the flora, and sinkara, blue bull, barking deer, cheetah, leopard, wild dog, wolf, etc. are examples of the fauna of the Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve. So flora and fauna of Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve are shown in this picture. You can see here A, B, C, D, E, F. So these are the flora and fauna of the Pasmarhi Biosphere Reserve. It is shown in this picture. Okay, next page, let's see. Activity 7.5. One activity is there. Try to identify the flora and fauna of your area and list them. Say, you know, for our state Manipur also, in the Ukhrul district, Shiroi lily, one of the flora found in the Shiroi hill. And say in the Kabulumjao National Park, it is so famous for its brow-antlered deer, we known as Shanghai. It is one specific fauna living in the Kebulamjong National Park. So try to identify the flora and fauna of your area and list them. So do as activity. Endemic species. Endemic species. Let's see what are endemic species. Soon the group quickly enters the deep forest. Children are surprised to see a very big squirrel. So soon the group quickly enters the deep forest and children are surprised to see a very big squirrel. When they see a very big squirrel, then they are surprised. This squirrel has a big fluffy tail and they are very curious to know about it. Madhavji tells them that this is known as the giant squirrel and is endemic to this area. So Madhavji tells to the students that this is known as the giant squirrel and is endemic to this area. Then what is endemic species? It comes here. Endemic species are those species of plants and animals which are found exclusively in a particular area. They are not necessarily found anywhere else. That is called endemic species. A particular type of animal or plant may be endemic to a zone, a state, or a country. So, endemic species are those species of plant and animal which are found exclusively in a particular area. So, they are not necessarily found anywhere else. So, for our state Manipur, Kebulamjong National Park, there is Shanghai, brow-antlered deer. The scientific name, Salvus ildi. This is also one example of endemic species. So, Madhavji saw anywhere else. A particular type of animal or plant may be endemic to a zone, a state, or a country. And Madhavji shows sal and wild mango in figure number 7.3 A. It is called. So here A. This is 1-3 sal and Madhavji shows sal and wild mango. This is figure number 7.3B. A wild mango. Sorry. Figure 7.3A wild mango is shown here. So Madhavji shows sal and wild mango figure 7.3A as two examples of the endemic flora of the Pasmarihi Biosphere Reserve. So bison, Indian giant squirrel, figure 7.3B, Indian giant squirrel, it is shown here. And flying squirrel are endemic fauna of this area. Professor Ahmad explains that the destruction of their habitat, increasing population and introduction of new species may affect the natural habitat of endemic species and endanger their existence. Here we know endemic species of Pasmarihi Biosphere Reserve. Here Indian giant squirrel and flying squirrel are endemic fauna of this area, and Professor Ahmad explained that the destruction of their habitat, increasing population and introduction of new species may affect the natural habitat of endemic species and endanger their existence. This is quite true. So this is giant squirrel. Species. What is species? Species is a group of population which are capable of interbreeding. This means that the members of a species can reproduce fertile offspring only with the members of their own species and not with members of other species. Members of a species have common characteristics. Members of a species have common characteristics, maybe for plants or animals. So, species is nothing. It is a group of population which are capable of interbreeding, and this means the members of a species can reproduce fertile offspring and only with the members of their own species and not with members of other species. So there is a word that is like begets like. Say plants will reproduce as plant, or animals will reproduce as animals. So activity 7.6 here, find out the endemic plants and animals of the region where you live. So you try to find out the endemic plants and animals of the region where you live. The next page, in the next page, wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuary, I think let's study in the next video class this wildlife sanctuary. For today, let's stop here. In the next video class, let's meet again. For today, bye. Thank you all.